Hi friends, before we start this episode, I just wanted to let you know that here in From Someone Who Gets It, we have raw, vulnerable conversations, and sometimes those conversations can trigger others. I want to let you know that in this season, we touch on suicide, infertility, PTSD, and everything in between. So if those are some subjects that are triggering to you, I just want to let you know that you're heard and you're seen and you're not alone. This podcast is for you, and I hope you join us. Hi everyone, welcome to From Someone Who Gets It, a podcast about life, mental health, and everything in between. I'm your host, Marcela, and this season I'll be sitting down with some of my favorite people having raw, vulnerable conversations about goals, dreams, life, and mental health. Every Monday you can find our episodes on the Cultura Talks channel, and I hope you join in. Hi friends, welcome back to From Someone Who Gets It. Today I am excited to be sitting down with one of the main people here at Cultura Media House. He is my boss, but also a great friend, father, husband, brother, son. We're sitting down with JC Perez.
Good Russell Crowe. Now, have you seen him lately?
Listen, Russell Crowe after Les Mis kind of just did it for me. He gave me tremendo ick after Les Mis.
Really?
And I couldn't. But you did that stupid... Hi, Chris is in the shot and everything. Chris is gonna go home today and literally cry into his diary and say, they were so mean to me at work.
Listen, that's what he does every day with
Dear
me.
diary, I finally came back to the studio and Marcela was so mean to me.
JC didn't stop all day, and then Marcela got to the
And then Marcela comes in and says, let me tell you something. Change your voice when you do reels.
I don't disagree with that.
Tell me I'm not. I saw that reel and I thought, wow, this could be such a great reel. If he didn't sound like he wanted to fucking die. Yeah. That's what he sounded like.
Just a little energy, my man.
Here, give it to me. Give me a little line. What do you want me to say? You see, that was you. You usually would say.
What do you want to say? There
like
you
that?
go.
Wow.
Look at you, dog.
We're actually super nice here. We're not bullies at all. Guys, this cannot make it on the actual pod because they're going to cancel us like they canceled Matilda, whatever her name is. Okay,
Who?
Anyways.
Matilda?
Not like the Matilda that we think.
Oh, great movie, by the way.
No, you can have
Low-key great movie.
Amazing movie. Talking about amazing.
I got into chocolate cake because of that movie. Oh.
We were talking about because Cultura did a post.
Wait. Sorry to interrupt you. Pictures?
After.
Well, what's the protocol?
After.
Is it?
Always.
Okay.
Chris should know that because he used to do my pods.
He doesn't do them anymore?
No. So like I was saying before Chris interrupted, is that Cultura posted on their Instagram story a poll of what was the best movie of the year. And it was Gladiator 2, Wicked, or what was the other one?
I don't know what the other one was. I went with Gladiator. I didn't see any of the other options.
Literally, the poll was winning, and it was Gladiator. And I sent them a DM and said, I bet everybody that has voted for Gladiator and making it win is all men. Because you cannot sit here and say that Wicked wasn't the best movie of the year and of the century.
So much energy coming from you right now.
Oh my God.
So much
I'm
energy.
So passionate
So I'm gonna
about
give
it.
so I'll give you an answer, which is I come from a background of music. You know my mom, so like I have a music background. So therefore, I respect the shit out of Wicked and what they did, and I've also done my research, and I heard that they do all the music like live, like that's impressive, 100%. To
JC,
me,
they sang live.
That's what I'm saying.
Everything was literally made. It wasn't CGI.
No. That's why I agree with you 1,000%. But Gladiator to a man does something primal. Like you gotta watch the movie. A, it's historic, okay, and B, the character that he plays, and C, the original Gladiator. I haven't seen 2, so I'm saying this with a huge asterisk. But the first one, Russell Crowe in his prime, like Jack, like gives you so much like primal male testosterone. So I could see why men like
I get it.
they went with that.
Listen, and I support your community
I
of men.
well, you've
And
you've had a ton of us on.
I
so.
support your community and whatever it is that you guys need to do. But I still think Wicked was the best.
What do you
movie.
think, Chris?
Chris, you saw Wicked?
I have not seen Wicked,
Okay.
Wow, it's
Wow.
just so much
so I
energy.
can't really give you my
It's
opinion.
just like coming into a space.
I
where
have
people
not seen Wicked.
Haven't seen it.
I have not seen Wicked.
Literally, like sends me into.
I
a
watched the
spiral.
original Wizard of Oz, so I know this is the prequel. I get it, but
No, this is not the prequel.
oh, it's not.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, here
She's
we
gonna
go.
have a
Here we
shit.
go. This is in like Marvel terms. I'll like put it in Marvel terms.
Thank
this
you.
is the Wicked Witch's like villain story.
Origin
Marvel.
story.
Yeah, like her origin story.
Got it.
But what it really is like the story about the Wicked Witch of the West and then Glinda and all that stuff
Right.
and who they are and what makes a bad witch and a good
And that
witch
she
a
was
good witch.
mischaracterized.
Yeah, and it's just like, again, life changing. People are gonna be like, this girl. But like, guys, invite me to the premiere next year. I'm your #1 fan. Like me and my little sister, it's all we talk about.
Yes.
It's all I've been talking about.
Guys, you got to have from someone who gets it and Marcela.
It's literally all
the
I talk
premiere.
about, and it's what's bringing me happiness. Talking about happiness, JC.
Hola.
What brings you happiness? We're just gonna go right in. Like we're
I'm
gonna,
down with that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm okay.
I'm gonna
go.
let's like.
By the way,
so-
no product placement here
No
at all.
product placement here at all. I was actually kind of jealous because I'm like, I don't have any merch. Like no merch.
To be fair, we're getting merch, so
We're getting a lot of merch. It's coming, you guys.
it is coming.
Okay, let's start from the beginning. Because you've been on other pods on here. You have your own pod, but you haven't been on from someone who gets it. So I want everyone to know who you are to me and to us here at Cultura and your story.
And to be fair, I text you saying I wanted to be on the pod. So
Yes, he
it's
did.
not like you had to like drag me here. I was
It's-
like, hey, I want to be on.
I'm which makes me so happy that people.
I love your pod. Like genuinely, I love your pod.
Thanks.
I really do. Like I obviously I catch I'm always on the other side of it, editing,
Right.
or doing something of the
Or
sort,
getting my voice memos
or getting your voice memos. Okay, you're gonna hate me, but great way to start. Thank you.
Sorry.
Anxiety buildup right there.
Yeah.
But I did text you, and I really do love your pod. So first and foremost, before we get to me, this is awesome. Like I love what you're doing.
Thanks.
As somebody that's close to you, and we become pretty close, as a friend, and obviously as the
My
owner
boss.
of Cultura Media House and co-owner and co-founder. What you're doing is really cool, and we're so excited to have you.
I'm so excited.
And that's super genuine. I really, really, really love the pod.
Thanks. No, I'm happy to be here and I'm happy to have the team that I have and you guys have my back and you look out for me and it's just I'm very grateful.
Even when you send those voice notes.
Even when I send voice memos that then Robbie ignores me for like a week. and
I do
doesn't-
too, by the way. I'll ignore you for a couple of days.
They'll ignore me and they won't talk to me, but then my episode drops and it's a success and then they talk to me again.
I agree. So, with that said, your question. I am JC Perez, co-owner, co-founder of Cultura Media House, father, very proud of that,
Very proud.
and husband, and son, and brother.
Nice.
Yes, you know my brother, you know my sister.
Love your sister.
You kind of know my sister. She was on the pod.
She was on the pod. She was
Episode
my
3,
no,
2.
two. She was my second episode.
Yeah.
My second guest, my third episode.
Go watch that one. It was really cool to see her on the pod, by the way. Like I've never seen my sister like that. Like in that like light, you know?
Yeah.
And for that actually, or with that point, a lot of the people that have been on your pod, like Junior and people that I've known forever.
Right.
Obviously I've known my sister forever. And to see her on the pod and to see her open up, like again, there's something special that goes on here. So love that. Love seeing her on that. So go watch that episode 2 of the pod. But yeah, brother, you know, my whole family, you know, my mom, you know, we've been, I feel like our relationship has grown over the last couple years.
Yeah.
You helped on Roby's project.
Yep.
A little bit, and we started to garner a relationship, and then obviously here now. So, yeah, co-founder, co-owner of Cultura Media House. Became a father 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. Uh, didn't know I was going to be a dad for a long time. Like I didn't know if
Really? If
I
that was for you?
yeah. If it was for me, and also, I have a running joke with Mari. It's like I had such a good blueprint with my dad, and like how I grew up. I don't think you've ever met my dad. I don't know if you've ever met my dad.
Like,
Have you met my dad?
yeah.
Have you? Yeah. Um, but I had such a good blueprint. Like I didn't. I felt like it was just like big shoes to fill.
Right.
So it was almost like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to be that type of like great dad. So I was always like a little scared. But honestly, it's been the best experience of my life becoming a father, for sure.
Do you think becoming a father has changed you, like,
Oh yeah,
completely?
not completely, but it's definitely changed me. Yeah,
Yeah.
you start to prioritize things.
Mm.
You realize, or at least I realized that you waste a lot of time, especially now that you don't have much time, and you're like, oh shit. Mari and I always say it. It's like, what did we do before? Like, did we just like sit around? You know,
Wow.
it's because you don't have a lot of time. You know,
Yeah.
and I think you appreciate the time that like I said, you prioritize things, and it's like that time that you have with him, that time that you don't have with him, like you're making sure you're more efficient, and
Right.
you're making sure that you're getting shit done quicker, so that when you're with, at least me, when I'm with him, like
It's about
just,
him.
yeah, it's efficient time with him. So yeah, but it's been one of the best experiences of my life, the best experience of my life. We always talk about it. Like one of the things they tell you before becoming a parent is like you'll never experience that type of love. You know, you'll
Yes,
never
everyone
experience.
talks about that.
And I always called bullshit on that. I was always like, "What do you mean? Like I have a dog. Like I love my dog.
I know what that is.
I know what that feeling is." And I always thought that it was just complete BS. And then you have a child and you're like, holy shit, it's not BS. There is just this like unconditional, special love that you have for this person that, by the way, was never in your life and then is in your life. And then now everything is about that person.
And you can't picture a
Life without him.
before
Like again, Mari and I were talking about that the other day. I'm like, can you think about life before Braden? And she's like, no, like sometimes I struggle with that.
Oh my god.
To like look at life before Braden and even not picture him in our lives. Like it's crazy. It's wild. But it's been amazing.
My best friend just had her baby boy December 5th. And she talks about that, like how it's literally wild. Like she looks at him and she's like, he can cry all day, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
you are the most perfect, beautiful boy in the whole world.
Yeah.
And Chris, her husband, says the same. Like he's like, yo, when they talk about that love, like it is crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And I think I'm obviously you experience it different than your wife than Madi.
Yeah.
Because it's a boy, so there's just that special bond. Just like if I'm, like Roby with the
Right.
girls, like there's just that bond. There's just but I experience it with him, and it's just wild because it's a little you. So like, I'm obsessed with him. I love him to death.
And it's like
I adore him.
literally like, even though he looks a little like Mari,
There's something.
some like days,
Yeah.
I feel like he is you.
You think
like,
so?
Oh my god.
Yeah. And his mannerisms too. Like
It's-
his mannerisms that like when you see him in person, his mannerisms are me. The way he walks. And
Oh my
everything.
god.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But having a boy is just it's interesting. It's wild because
Yeah.
like again there's that unconditional love, but they're a little you. And as a man, you're like you get so frustrated with them, And I assume no, I've talked to Janessa how she gets with the girls.
Right.
It's like that's it. That's a little you, And I did
Her
that
and I,
shit.
yeah. Her and
know?
I talk about
Yeah.
that all the time. Of like, V would tell her, like, we'll respond to her a certain way, and she's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's literally what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would say. So like, what am I supposed to say back to her?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh.
And Mari and I we've come to a really good understanding of how to be with him and how to punish him and really how to like be together in our raising of him. Which is I struggled to find the word, but like being together and raising him, but it's crazy how just two parents can have two completely different styles, and you
Yes.
have to you have to find that happy medium.
That's what I was gonna ask you.
Yeah.
What kind of parenting style are you? Because you're not a millennial,
I am.
right?
I am.
You are?
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I just aged you.
Thank you. Appreciate
I
it.
thought you were like the one that was
Not that
like
old.
right, like my uncles.
Well, I am. While you just said uncle. I don't know how old your uncle is, but no. So I'm 37. So I'm at the cusp. I'm like right at the beginning millennial. I think it's called like a
Wait,
zillennial.
I
or
meant to
some
say
shit like
Eddie,
that.
honestly.
Oh, okay.
And you're actually younger than Eddie, so
Yeah, I'm
he's
30.
old as fuck.
I'm 37.
He's old as shit. Sorry, babe.
You still look great though. You look beautiful.
You look beautiful. Only when you don't piss me off. Just kidding. Okay, but you're in that cusp of millennial
Yeah.
and
I don't know what the generation
What's-
before me. I have no clue. But there's actually like I saw a meme about this the other day where like it's that first line of millennial.
okay.
They coined it a name. I don't know what the hell it is, but yes, I'm a millennial. I'm not that old.
Okay, great.
I mean, I'm old, but
glad to know
not
that
that
you're a
old.
millennial.
Are you a millennial? You're a millennial.
I am.
Yeah.
But do you feel like you follow old traditional
That's a good question.
parenting, or are you following the more millennial parenting? Which I think there's two different ones. There's the gentle parenting, and then there's, I forgot the correct term for it, but there's a parenting that's like gentle mixed with like strict together. Where do you fall? And where did Mari fall? And then how did you guys meet? And like, this is how we're going to be.
So Mari's the gentle parenting.
Okay.
Okay. To the extreme sometimes.
Really?
And we've and I am I'm not very old school. I'm not super old school,
Okay.
but I definitely am more, and especially because he's a boy, I think, and because it's like it's just that bond that dad and boy have. Like
Okay.
I'm definitely a little like rougher with my parenting with him. Definitely not old school and hitting or anything like
Right.
that. But the punishing, the like reprimanding, the putting in timeout, like I'm definitely more heavy handed with that. Especially when it comes around like respect stuff.
Right.
Okay, so like he's 3.5 now.
Okay.
But if you ask anybody in our family, he's going 3 on 15. Like he's just
I know. He's a little man.
he's a little man. And he's incredibly emotionally aware.
Okay.
Like gets it. Knows, sad, happy, like, but he gets it right away. He doesn't have to see you, like he just vibes and understands it. And because of that, he's just very advanced. And when he does do something that is disrespectful, I know for a fact that he knows what the hell he's doing. Like I know it. And Mari does too, and we've talked about this many times. So with that said, I'm definitely a little bit more heavy-handed in like putting him in timeout, like reprimanding him, making sure that he knows like, hey, you're being disrespectful. I'm not gonna allow that.
Now, do you talk to him?
Yeah.
Like, do you like?
That's the change I've made.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's it's funny enough because Eddie and I agree on that of like getting down to them and being
Yeah.
like, hey,
That's a big one, the getting down to them.
and like what's going on? And everyone tells me when they're in the middle of the tantrum, you're not gonna be like, hey, what's going
Yeah.
on? But it's just like,
But sometimes that's what they need.
but it's like we have as adults
Yeah.
huge fucking feelings.
Yeah.
Feelings that, for example, today alone, like I got mad at something that Eddie said, and it took me a second to like
Yeah.
I wanted to throw a tantrum. I wanted to, and I was like, I get why kids throw tantrums.
That's me in our relationship, in my relationship.
But I needed a second. I needed to send out the text of like how I was feeling. And
Yeah.
then after, I was able to like kind of calm down and be like, oh, okay, honestly, that was actually so stupid. I should have not gotten angry. But I was raised in the, like, my mom, I think, is our best friend, so she raised us like that. But my uncles and my aunts were very much like, hey, if you did bad at school, you're gonna get punished.
Yeah.
And that was their way of like
Yeah.
doing. Do you find that it works with him? Like that it like you understand? And do you find like you mix both of like, I'm gonna talk to you. We're gonna talk, but you're still punished. Like,
Mhm.
is that how?
Yeah. So to your original question, and then this will answer this. Um, Again, Mari being very, very gentle parenting, and me
Mm-hmm.
being more heavy-handed, we've definitely found ourselves in the middle.
Okay.
Um, a lot of the times, what ends up happening, and Mari and I have communicated a lot with this, is she really doesn't like to cross a line with him. Like it's just not innate in her.
Right.
It's just not. So I'll give them opportunity. I'll give her opportunity. Like if
Mm.
she's gentle parenting and getting down to his level and talking to him, and I see that nothing is happening, and she'll give him a couple chances or two or three
Oh.
chances, then she has given me the okay to step
Mm.
in and say, "Hey, time out, bud. Like you're continuing to disrespect mom or not listening to her or whatever the
Right.
case may be." So there's been definitely a happy medium there.
Nice.
And I have also figured out how to get to his level, talk
Mm.
to him. He gets really emotional. He's like me. I'm an emotional cat. Like
Yeah.
I lead with emotions. I've had to deal with that for a long time. So I like to get to his level. I like to like relax him.
So
I've learned that with him, and honestly, it's made me a better person to myself. Like
yeah,
understanding how to like bring myself down, and
that's what I was gonna
yeah,
ask you. Do you feel like that has helped you in a way of like,
yeah.
oh shit, like I get where his emotion comes from.
It's
I
wild seeing
understand.
them, and you're like, oh shit, I do that.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part is when you're like, holy, like I do that shit. Like I don't want for him to see that or for him to go through that.
Right.
Yeah, so it does make you a better person. Yeah, for sure. And you see, you like one of the things that I've learned, and I learned this like really like the last 3 or 4 years, as I've been on like this resurgence to really find my center again
Yeah.
as a person. Go on a walk. Like
Mm.
I get really emotional. Like what you were just saying right now about the text message.
Yeah.
Like I live that. I go through that. So like go on a walk. Just walk it out.
Yeah.
Literally. Um, what happened? What are we doing?
I messed with one of the cables.
What?
Happened?
I want to mess with one of the audio cables because I just started hearing them where it was like a zzz with the audio.
With mine?
With one of yours. So I
No.
just want to unplug the plug it before you go any longer.
This is what happens. Chris just wanted to be on the pod. Go, show your pretty face. Wave.
Say hola.
Say hola. Put a star if you love Jesus. He put that on his thing. This is
A real podcast. This is the shit that goes on.
this is what happens. This is no. It's funny because on my. You guys didn't see this because we weren't recording, but okay, now this is not gonna. But 2 podcasts ago, the fucking sign kept
Falling? No, really?
start the pod and it would fall. Is this gonna be too? This is fine.
Yeah, I
right?
think you're good there. I had on my podcast, not to plug it, but the Dad Tribe podcast, coming to Cultura Talks. Is it good?
La Rubia. They're gonna book me for their next commercial.
We
they
had
told me.
they reposted you the other day.
I know. I felt so. My sister called me and she goes, Marcela, La Rubia reposted you. That is my favorite beer. I'm like, Natalia, I'm gonna do their commercial. She's like, you are, and I'm like, I mean, they haven't booked me, but it's called Manifesting.
They just don't know they need me.
They just don't know.
Not yet.
It's giving Glinda like you haven't watched Wicked,
Here we
so
go.
you don't know.
Here we go with the Wicked. It keeps doing it.
Look, put on the headphones and let me speak so you can see what I'm talking about. Just stand here and I'm gonna talk. Like it goes high and then it goes low. Like it's not at a consistent like.
Hello, 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 hello.
Hello, do you hear me talking? Hello.
Yeah, maybe it's just that it's just like away from you.
No, because like there's moments where like you sound really really high and then when you talk you sound like really really low. It just keeps going up and down.
Are you hearing that too?
I think
Are you-
just like the closer he gets to the mic.
Yeah, I'll try to be more consistent.
No.
Oh, I just heard it.
Yeah?
Like you hear
It goes in and out.
it goes in and out.
Yeah, I just heard it.
And I
That's
know
annoying.
that's just gonna be annoying.
Did it again.
It's
Yeah?
gonna be annoying when they edit it because the highs are gonna be really high and the lows are gonna be really low. I just don't know. Maybe let me try changing like the XLR cables and see if that helps.
Yeah, it's like in and out, in and out.
Hmm.
But that just started though, right?
Yeah.
We the,
Yeah, I just started hearing you now.
don't forget what you were just about to say.
What was I just
you were
about to
saying
say?
Oh
about La
fuck.
Rubia and
No, before that.
Before that.
Oh, about going on a walk.
Oh, walks.
Yeah. Anxiety walks.
Oh.
It's okay. This shit happens.
This is annoying. Are we still recording though?
You're still recording? All right, nice.
We are still recording. Guys, come and see Lincoln Road Hustle. But you're not gonna be able to hear it with all the fucking noise you're making.
Honestly, these make great bloopers, and I love it. Oh, I was gonna say on the Dad Trap podcast again, not to plug it, but
Oh, that. No, but you can't talk about
we had
that
a whole-
now with him.
we had fucking Indiana Jones over here. We had we had a hornet in the middle of a hornet in the middle. Yeah, we have those in Tampa. Yes, a hornet.
That's like the mascot.
Yeah, like the mascot.
Like the bee.
Well, actually, I know it's crazy, but they got the mascot from the real thing. Wait, like the mascot? No, like the damn fucking hornet, like the real animal,
Like
whatever,
the
insect.
thing that looks like a bee, but like
Bigger.
monster-
Yes, yes,
dinosaurs.
yes. And they hurt. It didn't bite me, but we had one in the middle of the podcast, and we spent like 10 minutes trying to like shush it out of the house. Yeah, wow, it's funny. But this is what happens on podcasts, you know?
Wow. I'm doing a show on Lincoln Road called Lincoln Road Hustle. It's an immersive show. And on fucking not Saturday, on Friday, which was our last preview
Mhm.
before opening night, we got a fucking dragonfly stuck in the room, and it was like,
They don't do anything.
I know they don't do anything, but their wings make a lot of noise.
Wait, dragonfly like the mascot?
No, like the spiritual animal.
Oh.
And
Hornet like the mascot?
Hornet
No,
like
like the
the
fucking insect, Marcela.
honestly,
that was a moment.
all I could think about was the basketball team.
Uh-huh.
That's all I could think about when you said that.
That's funny.
And the dragonfly was fucking this big.
I can't with
And
your
all you could
your
hear-
butt candle.
All you could hear was the fucking butterfly.
That's
trying
annoying.
To like escape, and everyone like this,
That's annoying.
looking at the butterfly. If that was opening night, I literally would have jumped in the middle.
When is opening night?
Opening night happened Saturday. It was amazing. I got
Was
my
it good?
first review. You want to hear what it
Yes.
says? Okay, I'm gonna plug my review really quick.
Do it.
It says, if Chris stops making noise. Says, Scene 4, The Influencer. Portrayed by Carmen Pelaez and Marcela Pawaga with intensity, sweeping range, and perfect pitch comedy timing. This was my favorite scene because of the acting and the intensity of the drama that occurred. Pelaez and Pawaga complement each other well, and it must be demanding, especially for Pawaga. You know when you'll see it.
Wait, what do you play? You play an influencer?
I play an influencer, but she is so much fun to play. The playwright came up to me opening night and said that I am a comedic genius. Chris, I'm literally talking. Like I was saying.
Ma, the meatloaf.
He literally said I was a comedic genius.
Also, poor guy is trying to set up the mic.
Poor guy is just trying to help, and I am I'm just a little guy. Oh wow.
Dude, my back is wet. Dude. My back is wet. I'm sweating now, Steven.
It is a little
Hottest out on the street.
I'm wearing a sweater, Chris. You're in shorts and a
sweater, and she gives us these.
If I would be covered in a blanket, bro, I'd be suffocating right now.
Oh no, I could not.
chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Guys, I'm obsessed with this new artist that a friend of mine just introduced me to. I'm just gonna play for you like a little snippet. Her name is Lola Young.
Lola.
Lola. Her name is Lola Young. She's so good. This song is called Crush, and it's my favorite at the moment. Her voice is just like chef's kiss. Lola,
Right.
if you're watching this,
Be a guest.
come on from someone who gets it.
Is it still doing it?
It's not a cable problem.
It's still doing it.
Oh my God, oh
I
my
don't know
God.
if it's like a setting in the road. Like it almost sounds like.
Let's just keep it moving.
Just go. Is it that bad?
I don't know how the editor is gonna do.
Whatever. Let's do it.
Here, let's give him a.
That'll be a me problem.
Listen, we're so sorry. Chris tried to help you out, but we had to keep it going.
Yes.
Chris, and let me tell you something. If you keep moving in that chair and making noise,
But the thing is, you don't.
but
I
I
get
hear
that.
it. I hear it. You're distracting me.
Caso cerrado.
Oh my God.
Have you ever seen the clip of like it's like early career Bill O'Reilly? I don't think you know who Bill O'Reilly is. He's like a news commentator or whatever.
I think I know who Bill O'Reilly is.
Yeah, and he and they were fucking up and they kept on fucking up a teleprompter. It's like, fuck it, we'll do it live. But it's like a great clip because he's like usually very
Like
reserved
reserved
or
and
whatever. And he's like,
calm.
fuck it, we'll do it live.
My
It's
God.
like a young Bill O'Reilly. It's so funny. What were we talking about?
Taking a walk.
And we're back.
And we're back. We're talking about parenting. We're talking about how you are more, let's say, like quote unquote traditional parenting, and Mari is more of a gentle parent. And to be honest, I think that's who I'll be. I'll be like,
More the gentle?
I think so.
You think so?
You don't think I'll be a gentle?
I don't know. Well, I don't know. But
My cousins are like, no, girl.
you're very emotional like me.
I am.
So I don't know if you're gonna be the gentle
But
parent.
because I feel, and listen,
Maybe it depends on
parenting
if you have a boy or a
might
girl too.
hit me in the face.
Right.
But like Eddie and I have had this conversation before, and like if you would hear us, people would be like, "Just you wait," which I also hate when people say, because I'm just like, why? Why does it have to be like that? But we talk all the time, and I'm like, I think because from a young age, I was so like aware of my very big emotions, and no one talked to me about them. And as an adult, I'm very aware of my very big emotions. I feel that when I have a child, and I know they're gonna have tantrums, but I feel, and maybe this is my toxic trait, but I feel like I'm gonna be able to be like, hey, I wanna cry like you too. What's up? Like, let's talk about it. I might be super delusional, but that's just how I feel.
So I'm gonna give you a little pushback because
Okay.
Mari is one of the most even keel people I have ever met in my life, if not the most even keel person.
Yeah.
Like we always joke, I'm like this, and Mari for the 12 years we've known each other, literally has just not
Yeah.
gone up or down from here. Okay, and it's what I love about her. She keeps me stable and she keeps me like,
we need
grounded. Like I need that.
That's Eddie.
And in the beginning I fought it a lot, but it's become something like I know I need. Like
Yeah.
I love the fact that she's like that, and it's what makes us us. With that said, seeing her lose her cool has been one of the best things that I've ever seen in our relationship.
Oh my God.
Because she always said the same. She's like, no, the gentle parenting, I'll talk to him. Whatever. And when I see her lose her shit, and to be very clear, she's lost her shit maybe 3 times.
Right.
And he's
It's
3
not
years old, so
like
it's like once a year.
once a year.
But when she loses her shit, she raises her voice. And it's just like, I just, honestly, I laugh, I smile. And in
you're
those
like-
times, it's been funny that I go in and I'm like, Brayden, come on, let's go over here. Because you're pissing mom the fuck off.
Like, you really pissing her off.
And I've literally told him that. I'm like I've taken him to the side. I'm like, Mama is mad. Mama never gets mad.
Mama always asks you,
So
are
you
you
really
okay?
fucked
So
up, dude.
What did you do?
Yeah. So I will push back on that. You will lose your cool. But it's just the
No,
weirdest.
I know I will.
It's
but
the weirdest feeling though, because you lose your cool and then like 5 seconds later, you look at them and you're like, you're just fucking perfect. Like,
Yeah.
You're the best. Because they do something, they smile, whatever the case may be, and it's just
What advice do you have for new fathers that are like, for example, my best friend's husband that just had his first kid, like what is something that you learned that no one told you
Mm.
that you're like, hey, let me just give you this.
Um, First and foremost, I think in the beginning, like in the beginning, I mean like the first couple weeks, like you have one job, and it's to play defense. It's like,
Mm.
how can I help?
Mm.
How can I like? Because and I say this jokingly. Obviously, you are a huge part of that baby's life, but you're nobody at that time. You're like,
Yeah.
you're just helping. You're like,
Mm.
hey, how can I help you? How can I facilitate here? And it's the weirdest feeling in the beginning because there's a lot of emotions for the man too. Like
Right.
obviously, like you just had a baby. Um, but I think like innately and primarily, at least for me, like you just go into help mode. Like, how can I help? How can I facilitate? And that's really your main job.
Mm.
And for me, and this was my personal experience, it takes you a minute as a father. Actually, Roby on the Dad Tribe podcast, he said something similar, where like it takes you a while to really like connect
Mm.
because right away it's mom and baby. Like
Right.
obviously for many primal reasons, it's mom and baby,
Yeah.
and it takes you a minute to connect. Like there's a while there that you're like, man,
Who's
do I
this?
even have emotions for this baby? Like what's going on? And
Yeah.
obviously you do, but it just takes you a minute to connect with the baby. And for me, again, I said it on that pod with Roby. Like it took me till I was maybe a month in to really like, oh wow, I'm connecting with Braden. And then the next connection was when he started talk or when he started to like actually like communicate,
Mm.
right? I'm a big communicator, and I just like not communicating with my baby. I was like, talk already,
Talk.
dude. Like,
Tell me
like
what
do
you
you
need.
want,
Yeah,
man?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I need feedback, Um, so I need feedback. Like, give me something.
Give
hand
me
signals.
something. Hands.
I don't know anything.
Yeah.
And when he started to do that, we taught him very early on, like the more and
Right.
all that type of stuff. And I found that so cool, and I really started to connect with them there.
Mm.
Because it's like the first couple weeks, and I guess that's the advice I can give you is don't feel bad as a father in the first couple days if you're just there helping, like you're just there like facilitating, because that's really
Yeah.
what it is. Like
No.
that's such a special. Here's another thing too, like they don't really tell you how much or how impactful it is to see your wife become a mom
Mm.
and what that does to your psyche as a
Mm.
man and as a husband. Like it's game changing. It's mind blowing. Like seeing Madi become a mom was to me like one of the best experiences of my
Wow.
life. Yeah. It's mind blowing, and you right away, and Madi and I have talked about it because she said, months later we communicate, and she tells me how I felt so vulnerable, like you seeing me in that position in that situation, and then the next days after, like
Yeah.
can't walk, and you're trying to get up for the first time and all that type of stuff. And she told me, she's like, I felt very vulnerable, and I told her, I was like, man, if you were able to step in my shoes the way that I
Mm.
was seeing you, it was completely different. I was like, wow, look at this like rock star.
Yeah.
Holy crap, man.
I haven't gone to see my best friend and her husband, but my other best friend, Annabelle, and her husband, Julian, had their baby a couple months ago. And when I went to visit them, just the way Julian was with Annabelle was making sure that she was okay, making sure that she had what she needed. When she was pumping, he was doing something else. Like to the point that when I left, I literally said bye to them and I cried and I told Julian, I'm like, just thank you for taking care of her, because I think that what a lot of people don't talk about, and I'm so happy that was your advice, because it is the first 2 weeks. It's like, hey, if mom is good, baby's gonna be good. Like baby's always gonna be good, you know? And I told him, I was like, thank you so much for taking care of her. And it was the same thing I told Chris when I, like, before they, like, had their baby. I was like, make sure you take care of Natalie. Like, baby is going to be taken care of.
Yeah.
Like, mom needs to also be taken care of.
Yeah.
And then I also, you guys, and I know that you guys always get pushed to the side of like, oh, but how about us? But I also know it's a complete change, because you're going from like just being a 2 units to being now 3. Was that difficult?
No.
Or was that?
No. I was gonna say my next advice is that it's not as hard as people say it is.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I love to hear that.
Yeah. Because going into parenting, you're like, you hear it. It's the hardest thing, and
Yeah,
how are you gonna get through it? And
Yeah.
your relationship with your wife, like, and honestly, like, we got closer.
Mm.
Like, we grew closer after having Brayden. Well, COVID really did that for us, but we grew closer. Like, we just bonded in a different way, and it's not that hard. It's not as hard as people say. And I get Brayden is a great kid. I get that.
Yeah,
I
I
get that
was
from
gonna say,
everybody. I get
he
that from
is-
everybody. Like, oh, he's such a great kid. I get it, and I do understand that. But yeah, and when we moved to Tampa, to Dunedin. We live in Dunedin now. When we moved, Brayden was 6 months old.
Wow.
Yeah. And my aunt lived there, but then she ended up moving to St. Pete a couple months later. So we really, for a long time, didn't really have help over there.
Wow.
We have a huge unit over here that you know
Yeah.
of, but we didn't really have help over there. And again, that was our choice. But it's not as hard as people say it is. And again, we have a healthy baby. Brayden's always been a great kid, so I definitely understand that part.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been amazing. And going back to your point about the taking care of mom, I don't see it as we get shoved to the side. I really don't. I just see
Good.
it as like, look, baby is taken care of. He's in the hospital. Like, yes, you want to take care of baby, but mom is really where, like, you need to facilitate, because in a weird way, like, even though she just gave birth and you're at the hospital, the nurses, whatever, like, all the attention is being paid to the baby. Like,
Yeah.
mom's going through some shit,
Mom's
and
going-
and mental too, and the things that they don't tell mom about that she communicated to me after, like, even like the little things of like, I didn't know how you were viewing me, like how you were looking at me, like I was so vulnerable. I felt like you were gonna leave me, type stuff. And every woman goes through
And
something
they do.
different. Yeah,
And I've heard that.
I know
From
Janessa went through her own stuff.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like,
yeah. I've heard that from so
Yeah.
many women.
Yeah, and I can honestly tell you, like, I can give you, in my kind of viewpoint, it was the complete opposite. Like, I was looking at
Wow.
Mari and almost like just garnered a completely different respect for her, and as a woman, as my wife, as a new mother. So yeah, and it's cool to see, because you obviously, like, I spent what, 8 years with Mari without a baby, obviously,
Right.
and you develop a relationship and you develop this bond as boyfriend girlfriend, then husband and wife, and then to see that person, and I'm sure she sees it the other way around too, like, just develop this other part of them that you never saw,
Right.
was never there, but it was always there.
Yeah.
And it's just wild to see that, and it just comes naturally. It's just like, here I am, I'm mom now, and it's just
Yeah.
like, what the fuck, really? Like, and it's cool. It's amazing. It's amazing.
No, it's everybody who has had kids around me recently tells me it's life changing in
Yeah.
so many
Beautiful ways.
beautiful ways.
It really is.
Yeah. I want to talk about a little bit about you and Mari.
Yeah.
You'd say that you're the emotional one, and
By
she's
far, yeah.
more.
Even keel.
You know, I feel like Eddie, when we first started, he was the more like even, and I had my like episodes, and I feel like now him and I kind of like go back and forth with it. How? Oh my god, I almost.
And I didn't have water to give you. I'm so sorry.
I,
Now you want the Sprite?
I need a little bit. Throw it.
Oh,
Softball player.
don't show the label. No
Third basement, unless they wanna.
unless you want to sponsor.
Hold on. Oh my god. I feel like I swallowed a hornet.
Like the
The
mascot.
mascot?
That's what I wanted. Wow. You see, when you hang on around me enough, you get funny. And your comedic timing is great. Thank you. Okay. What I was gonna say before I literally almost died on
Started
camera.
talking about Eddie, and you're like,
No. Like, seriously. I almost passed out. In the beginning, that must have been difficult
Mhm.
in many ways. For her, probably like, I can't, like,
Mm-hmm.
this is too emotional when you're not an emotional person. And you being super emotional and getting kind of just like very neutral back.
Like, do you even care?
Yes.
Yes.
Because that's where my mind used to go when he would be very neutral about things of like, well, why aren't you getting so upset? Like how I am. Explain that dynamic a little bit and how it went from being that dynamic to now something that is that obviously works very well because you guys are like each other's best friends. Seeing you guys together is very like you guys are a unit and it's not like you meet some couples and you're just like, oh, do they even like each other? And it's like, no, like you guys like have a friendship and you're friends. But that took work to probably get
It took
there.
a lot of work.
Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit.
A lot of work.
Mari's like, I'm not on your podcast. Why are you talking about me? Sorry, Mari.
I've actually thought of doing a podcast with her, and I thought that'd be really cool.
Oh.
Like because sometimes to that point, sometimes like she has issues communicating. Like that's one of our biggest roadblocks. She's not a natural communicator in that sense.
I feel her on that because Eddie has taught me how to communicate.
Yeah, well, I've taught her how to communicate for sure. And I'm like, if I feel an issue, I'm like, let's talk about it. What the fuck is going on? Let's go. Let's talk about it. And she's just very stoic and like doesn't want to talk about it.
Oh my God.
So we've gone through that and to be fair, like we've done it ourselves. We go to therapy.
Amazing.
Which is amazing, and we love our therapist. But yeah, it took a minute. It took a long time. Again, just naturally, Mari's very stoic, very even keel.
Yeah.
She is emotional, and I know she's listening to this. Like you're painting me as like a mute
but
person,
she's just like neutral.
Yeah,
like, it's very like she leads more. Like she doesn't lead with like emotion as much, which is why I feel like gentle parenting works with her because she's very like, hey. Like what's going on?
100%.
So it's not that at all.
Yeah.
It's just like she knows how to control her emotions.
Yeah.
Actually, you're winning.
Oh no, you're winning in life. I've told her many times. I'm like, I really truly wish that I could control my emotions to the level that she does. And then I know for a fact because she's told me she wishes that she had some of the, like that I have, and again, it does make for a great relationship after 12 years.
Right.
But not without its roadblocks for sure. Like, yeah, look, when we started, Mari was 23 years old, 22 years old. I was 25, 26, around there. Already an entrepreneur, kind of like I was out of the party scene.
Okay.
I was done with it. I had my own business. She was just getting out of like that, being at the tail end of the Miami party scene and clubbing and ultra and all the amazing stuff that we all go through. And she was getting out of that already. And there in the beginning we had natural speed bumps in the sense of like, again, it was just that time in our life where I was like, look, I'm looking for
you were in a different pace.
this, and I'm not looking for the bullshit. Like I've already done that, and I'm not looking for that.
Yeah.
And she was also, and she was trying to get out of that, and she was trying to like just be a little bit more. I wouldn't say responsible because she was always responsible, but just get out of that. And so that was a natural speed bump. She had friends that were in that, and it was just like that natural, like kind of pulling you still.
Yeah.
And you and her in her case, just being like, look, I found somebody that I really want to just settle down with, and it's time of my life to settle down and to enjoy the relationship.
Wow.
And so, but there was that natural speed bump in the beginning of that. Outside of the fact of like, I was still 25 years old. I was still going through my stuff. My parents had divorced 4 years before that. My grandfather had passed away. So I was still like an
Dealing
emotional, I was responsible and I knew what I wanted, but I was still not, still hadn't really centered myself and dealt with the shit that I needed to deal with. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
So I had baggage, we all do. I had baggage. So it took us a minute. It took us, I would say like a couple years to really, although we from the moment we met each other, I'll never forget this. I took her to have sushi at, is it Raw Sushi, RA Sushi? That's not there anymore. It was in Sunset Place.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Or
about.
off of Sunset Place.
Yeah.
And I took her to have sushi. And that night, she was eating in conversation. Mind you, this is the first time I ever meet this girl. in conversation, she tells me we just started talking about food. No sé qué, no sé cuánto. And like, I hate when people like pick at my food. So what do I do? The
Of
first
course.
thing, I pick at her food, and I probably won her over there because she was like, "This motherfucker, like, que atrevido."
Oh
And
my
that night
God.
we spent the whole night. Like funny story. So we have sushi, um, and it was a Sunset Tavern. I think it was like right down the street.
Okay.
And I take her, and we walk into Sunset Tavern, and it is a bunch of women that just like pan, and I see like on one of the signs, and it's like ladies' night, but it's not that type of ladies' night. Like it was like a lesbian, like kind of like yeah. So we walk in, mind you, it's me and Madi, this beautiful woman walking into this, and they turn, and I go to Madi. I go, I don't think they're looking at me.
No. Oh my
She goes,
God.
we need to leave. So we
We
just
need
turned,
to leave.
so we just turned around, and it was just a funny running joke. Like it was just like,
Oh my God.
and then we went to the car. We were like on the hood of the car, and we honestly we talked for like 2-3 hours. And from that night, I don't like maybe a week apart from each other ever
Wow.
since. Like yeah, it was like that. It was just like instant connection. Um, but yeah, in the beginning, there was speed bumps. The personalities trying to mesh the personalities. We are two completely different personalities,
Mhm.
and trying to mesh that is tough. A relationship is tough in general.
Relationship is tough in general, and it's things that people don't talk about. I think we have had this conversation of like it's what you see on social media is what
It's the end result.
right,
Yeah.
and it's what we want you to see.
Yeah, of course.
You know, and it's like I can't even tell you how many pictures I have posted of me and Eddie smiling, whatever. And right before taking that picture, I
You're
told him,
motherfucking each other. You're like,
yeah. I told him
Yeah.
to go like
yeah,
fly
yeah.
a kite.
Yeah,
And then he's want to take a picture, and I'm like,
yeah.
you know, like it's. But I think what a healthy relationship has its
Oh, 100%.
like speed bumps, and it has the things that you
Yeah.
have to. And I think what makes it healthy is that you have those issues and you have these problems that come up, or these not problems, just
It's
these
life.
life things that come up in life,
Yeah.
and you handle it together and you move on to the next thing. And I think that's what makes it healthy. It's like, oh, we just got something thrown to us that could have probably set us to go separate ways.
Broken you.
And instead, we like
Lean
tackled
in.
it together.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's so important. And I think there's a quote from Jordan Peterson where he says like a relationship is a vow where you're saying like I'm going to show you my skeletons in my closet.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to show me mine, and we're not going to run away.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's so important, but you have to have that trust of like, look, I'm going to open up the fucking closet door. Don't be scared. Like there's
Don't
shit
be-
in there.
Yeah.
There's shit in here. Like,
And then,
and it's wild to like to really really focus in on that because we all have skeletons. Like we've talked I've told Chris is over there like getting free relationship advice. I've told Chris like, you know, and we've had conversations. I always tell him like, we're all going through shit, man. Like there's skeletons in everybody's closet. And in that type of relationship, in a really healthy relationship, it's understanding like, look, I'm just gonna open the door and we're gonna be cool with our shit.
and we're going to be cool with our shit, and we're going to accept, like, it's just, I'm not going to judge you on your shit.
Right.
And you're not going to judge me on mine.
Right.
And if we do judge each other, then maybe it's not
It's not. Yeah.
it's not it.
Yeah.
But that has always been something of me
Yeah.
and Eddie of like every time I threw a flag, he was just like, okay,
Yeah.
like, you know, it is what it is. That you have a skeleton, one comes out of mine. Like,
Yeah.
so you saying that, like, I think is true, and it's healthy to have arguments. It's healthy to have discussions. It's healthy because it means that like something happened that you care about
Mhm.
and you want to make sure that you fix it and it gets fixed.
Mhm.
If everything was all rainbows and butterflies, like how interesting would that really be?
No, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be at all. And yeah, you have to like walk through the mud sometimes. You really do in order to like really appreciate walking on regular concrete. And I've always said that it's the truth. Like you have to walk through the mud. And sometimes in a relationship, it can come in the beginning. It can come whatever your time frame of a relationship is, but it can come like 3 months into it, it could come 3 years into
Yep.
it. Like at some point, you're gonna walk through the mud, and it's gonna get sticky, and it's gonna get uncomfortable, and you either have to lean into each other or you just don't. And
Yeah.
honestly, that's what makes a good relationship or not a relationship. And we've been through those trials and tribulations. Going into COVID, we were um, having moments there that could have not let us continue forward, I guess is the best way to say it. But we leaned into each other,
Yeah.
and we ironically enough, a lot of people through COVID like ended up divorced, and we kind of leaned into each other, and we always say it like to us, it was a blessing in disguise because we were able to really like focus on each other, and then Braden happened.
Yeah, I mean, that's how Eddie and I like. I moved in. We were dating for a couple months.
Mm.
COVID happened. My mom is diabetic,
Mm.
and I was at the restaurant a lot
Mm.
helping him. And I was having a therapy session, and he was listening into the therapy session. First of all, that's how you already know I'm super comfortable with you. If I'm letting you sit through my
Yeah,
therapy session,
100%.
and she, I'm telling her I'm really worried about my mom and getting her sick and all this stuff. And he was like, well, what if she just moves in with me for 2 weeks? And then when everything goes back to normal, like she'll go back.
Mhm.
And then I just never moved out.
That's
I never, but COVID was hard because mentally it was horrible for me
Mm.
not being able to work for
Mm.
as long after coming off of the biggest show of my life. Mentally it messed with me really bad. But at the same time, him and I like we we were together all the time.
Mm.
So you knew if it was gonna work or wasn't gonna work through COVID. But I feel like recently we had a speed bump. We moved in September, and
Moving will do that to you.
we just clipped it.
Ooh.
You guys clipped it of like love. See if you really love someone with like moving.
Mhm.
But it's just like it's a lot of different things. And we were moving, and at the same time, he lost one of his business partners.
Mhm.
So it was a lot of different things. It was a lot of stress on me, a lot of stress on him. There was a lot going on. And I remember at one point, like we were bickering the whole day. We were fighting the whole day. I felt like I was doing the move alone. He had a lot going on with work. And I remember that night something happened, and just like looking at him and thinking like, yeah, but I still want to go to sleep next to you at the end of the night. Like I wanted to kill you all day today, but like I can't imagine not sleeping next to you or
Mhm.
waking up next to you or talking to you.
Mhm.
And then being able to be like, hey, I know that I'm super stressed and you're super stressed, and this is a rough moment that you and I are having, but let's acknowledge this moment. And then Carlos came on the pod and did the thing, and he watched Carlos' episode, and he's like, okay, we got to talk about it. And so
Mhm.
every relationship has its moments.
Yeah.
It's what you make of that moment.
Yeah, and it's understanding how the other person vibes too. Like, there's not a cut and dry way of dealing with a fight or bickering or whatever the case may be. Every relationship is literally like different.
Yeah.
It's like a snowflake. Every fucking relationship is different,
Yeah.
and that has been a big deal with us is understanding like I need to take a walk because if I don't take a walk, I'm gonna try to deal with the shit right there, and I'm just gonna piss her off even more, and she's gonna close up even more, and yeah, that's literally us, and I've
Eddie,
learned that.
you're gonna start taking. We're gonna call them JC walks.
JC walks.
I'm gonna when we get into things, I'm gonna just be like, go take a JC walk.
Roby makes fun of me because last year, many times that I would be like stressed out or have anxiety, whatever, he'd call me and he's like, "What are you doing, guy?" I'm like, "I'm just taking a walk, man." I'm just taking. Bro, do you walk all the time? And I'm like, "Yeah, I love it actually. I love taking a walk."
But I want to talk about that
Yeah.
because maybe it's in your nature of like you want to fix it. Like you
That
said,
is a
it's
minute, yeah.
Eddie's that's in his nature too of like I want to fix it. I want to fix the problem. And sometimes I don't know how to articulate
Mm.
how I'm feeling in the moment. I know I'm feeling whatever it is, but I can't articulate that to him. And then because I can't articulate that, I shut down because I don't really know what to say. And I'm just like, I don't want to talk about anything right now. Let me get a second so I
That's
can.
funny.
And then sometimes I even need to like write it out.
That's
Like a
interesting.
lot of the time, we'll get into it. He'll tell me, we'll talk about this later. And I'll send him like a whole thing. And then he'll call me on the phone and then we'll like go like over it. Have you guys found a way? And that's not all the time. There's still times that he's like, but what's wrong? And I'm like, give me a second to get my thoughts so I don't sound like an emotional idiot talking to you. And I can just like talk to you from there's still gonna be emotion, but also from a little more of a like
Centered place.
yeah, a centered place because then I don't want to even though we're very good at like and it's not that we've had this rule, it's just a respect thing. Never call each other names. We never curse each other out. So when it does get to a place that I feel like I'm gonna like say something that I know is not nice or there's no reason for me to go there, I'm like, I need a second. Give me a second. I'll send you a text message in a little bit. Like, have you guys found your way of communicating?
Yeah. And Mari's been really good at. So I do the texting too. What is it? What is he saying back there?
No, he was moving.
Oh, he's just annoying you with his movement.
He is. He's overstimulating me.
So on that note, I'm the same way. I do the texting thing sometimes
Okay.
because I get really like big emotions and I'm like, you know what, let me just walk whatever, and then I have to like kind of text it through. And I don't know what it is about that, but it just soothes me a little bit to text it.
Me
It's
too.
really weird. But with that said, Mari's become very good at not responding to the text or responding with, we'll talk about it when I see you.
Eddie
Yeah.
is like that too.
Yes. And it pisses me the
Fuck
fuck
off.
off in the moment.
Me
It pisses
too.
me off, but it's the best way to respond because text messaging is not a way of communicating.
At all.
To everybody out there, do not text important things.
No, do not.
Talk, call, see the person in person. But it soothes me, and then I wanna talk about it. I'm like, no, answer me. Like I want to talk about it right now. But she's realized that doesn't matter what she says.
Everything.
If I'm heated, I'm gonna take it in a poor way.
Yep.
I'm gonna create this fucking story in my head that she meant it in a certain way, and it just makes things worse. And it really does. And she's just been super innate about saying, you know, hey, when I get home, we'll talk about it. And again, it pisses me off. I'm not saying it doesn't.
Yeah.
But when I look like outside looking in and I talk about it, I'm like, that's 100% the best route to take.
No.
And the last time, I think it was like a couple weeks ago, we were in an argument and she did that. And I was like, all right, we'll talk about it when we get home. And we did. And it was, within 5 minutes, we're like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
I don't even know why we're arguing. Like, great. I understand your point. You understand mine. May disagree with this, but it's not that big of a deal. Let's move on.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, so I do the text messaging thing. I don't know what it is about like that first like long novel text message.
Literally.
But
I did it today and then I immediately feel good. Chris is laughing. I immediately feel good, but then a couple minutes after I immediately feel like shit.
So iMessage now does the thing where you can delay the text. Have you seen that? Yeah, I
haven't done the update.
I saw it the other day.
I haven't done the update because I hear the update with the pictures is horrible.
Oh, I don't know. But I saw it the other day. I went to send a text message that says send it at whatever time. And I'm like, oh, shit, that's actually a really good option. That's an amazing option because I get to write my shit out. I'll like postpone it and then I'll go back. Oh, no, don't send that.
You know what I'm going to start doing? It just doesn't give me this. I sound so toxic. It doesn't give me the same hit that it does to send a text. It's just write it in my notes.
Yeah, it doesn't do the same thing.
It doesn't.
I've done this. I've done that. I've written it in notes and yeah,
listen,
it just doesn't.
I'm not. Maybe I am toxic, but you know what? I also am self-aware.
Yes.
I am so self-aware.
I'm very self-aware too.
It's fine. We communicate just great. Look at the rock on my finger. Okay,
I
would not have that if we didn't know.
And congrats, the pictures look amazing.
Oh my god! Wait, let's just show.
They look badass.
Hold on, I have my phone here. I'm just gonna like show it really quick. Ready? I'm gonna show you one. My favorite.
I love how we were talking about like not being able to fucking communicate and be like, look at my engagement pictures. Okay. This is one of my favorite ones.
Oh, so badass.
Chris, can you see that?
I love it.
Love that. And then this one, which is so like every time
Chris,
I
you can talk, bro.
yeah, Chris.
You could say something.
But just talk with life.
talk with me.
This one, every time I tell people that this is my favorite, they're like, why? But it just
I can't see it.
gives me like,
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
I like that one. That was very nice.
1950s,
Yeah, subtle.
like, socialite.
Yeah. Subtle. There's something like
Cute, right?
yeah, I don't know what the words are, but
It just gave like
there's
Veneer.
something oddly sexy about that picture too. Like
yes.
there's like a little
I'm-
sex appeal to it.
I
I'm
like that one.
Yeah.
That one that you just showed. Yeah.
Isn't that beautiful?
that one
That
too.
one's nice.
Love it.
It's just like my kids are gonna be able to have these pictures and be like, wow, my mom and dad were like the coolest people. Like my mom is a model.
That's how I feel about our wedding pictures. Like it was like mountainous in the back. Like the photographer was amazing. Like yeah, that's how I feel about
No,
our wedding.
I
I look
can't-
back now at our wedding picture. I'm like, oh,
I cannot wait for my wedding pictures.
I was so annoyed when we were taking them. But
Why, dude? It's one day.
'cause
You know what?
I don't like the whole
No.
picture thing. I'm not a
Okay,
big fan.
no.
That's a problem.
Hold on. Hold
That's
on.
a problem. I
We're gonna
I
stop.
run a media company.
We're going to stop because this is a problem with a lot of men. And so this message is for you men, okay? Us women spend a really long time thinking about our wedding day, thinking about who we're going to marry. We pick you to marry, okay? We pick you to stand up there. We're picking you to take pictures with us. Do not complain. I don't care. It's a couple hours of your day. Suck it up. You don't like taking pictures? We don't like football. But guess what? We have to hear it every Sunday. Suck it up. Just like if you don't like the name that your wife is going to pick for your kid, too bad. They already get your last name. End of rant.
You good?
I just had to get that off
Feel
my
better?
chest. Yeah, I do, actually.
Sometimes you need that, you know?
So I had to do it. I had to do it because I hate when guys I don't like taking pictures. I don't care.
Well, I think specifically for okay, so I'm
He's going to defend himself
gonna
now.
defend myself a little bit, okay? I think for me specifically, our wedding pictures were wedding day, like when we were doing stuff.
Excuse
Like we
me.
didn't do the photo shoot before, so I was like, I
That's
just want to go to the
everybody
party.
takes-
Like I want to like have a couple
JC,
drinks.
I don't know if
get
you know
it.
how
I get
weddings
it.
work.
I do know how weddings. I
Everyone's-
know everybody does it, but we did all of ours. Like I don't know. Is that how it
You're-
works?
You don't sound no, absolutely not. That's how everyone. Just so you know, everyone has their ceremony and then goes
I don't know.
and takes their pictures.
I'm usually hammered by the time the pictures are taken, so I don't know. Is that how it works?
He's like, first of all, we did everything in the same day. Yeah.
That's annoying. Like that's annoying.
What did you
I
wa-
just want to get to the party. I want to enjoy my family. I don't want to sit outside taking an hour of pictures.
Okay.
I get it. Listen.
but then after those 4 hours are done,
I
and you
look back at it.
spend
I look back at it now. I just
$40,000.
finished saying that. Give me some credit. I just finished saying that. Yes. I look back now and I love our pictures. Don't roll your eyes at me like that. I love our pictures. I'm giving you razón. I love our
Okay.
pictures.
I really loved your wedding. I saw pictures of your wedding. I thought that was such a beautiful wedding. It made me want a mountain wedding, and then I got over it really quick.
And we did a destination wedding, but we like DIY'd the fuck out of our wedding. Don't do that.
Oh, listen, I'm gonna tell you something. You never have to worry about me being a do-it-yourself bride. That is not for me. But you know what? Respect to the most, like to the highest, to brides that do that. Like, good for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good for you. Not me.
No, we did it.
Yeah,
No.
good for you guys.
That was not. I would not suggest that to anybody.
No. Okay.
We actually wanted to do. We wanted to do like we talked about it afterward. Like we should have just done like a destination wedding, just like a vacation. You know, like just come visit if you want to be at our wedding.
Eddie and I
Like
talked
something
about
simple.
yeah,
You know?
Eddie and I talked about that a lot. But really, when you think about
But we
it,
did it simple though.
when you
to be
think
fair.
about it, it's never that simple.
No.
Right now, well, if you ask me this week, I don't want anything. If you ask me last week, I already have my saved the dates. I'm about to send them out. But this week, I didn't want anything. I just want pictures. So I'm like weird.
Mhm.
It is what it is.
We can get you some pictures.
I already have my photographer, Chris.
Ooh.
Sorry.
Ooh.
Didn't you see what amazing job she did? I know he's a little. You could tell he's a
bit
little
butthurt.
He's a little he's a little butthurt about it. You can come and take my my pictures at Tiki, at Casa for our after party.
There you go. Good plug.
No shot? Yeah, right. Okay, let's go back to talking about
Communication.
Communication.
Yes. What were we getting at before we went on a rant?
Getting on how you guys have learned to communicate,
Yeah.
which then I think learning to communicate, has that been an easy way of like then learning how to parent together, because you have finally learned how to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
You understand each other's
Mm-hmm.
differences, and you're like, okay, now let's fucking make the best team that we can possibly make.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. And I think parenting has also helped us communicate better. Because you want to give, like, I want to give Brayden the best shot and the best of me. And I know if I'm not vibing with Mari, if I'm not communicating well with Mari, like, I got to step up my game. And it's kind of been both sides of that. Like, we've started communicating better, but also like becoming a parent and communicating with him has made me a better communicator with Mari, like, and vice versa, by the way.
Yeah.
And again, I've always been, to be very clear, I've always been the communicator.
Yeah.
I've always been the talker. I've always been the one, like, and this is across the board in my life. Like, you know how I feel when I feel it. Like, I'm either mad at you, happy, whatever, but you know.
Yeah.
I don't really hide my feelings well.
He sent me a text message. I can't really talk about like the whole thing, but he sent me a text message that was very like dad-like. And like, I know
I did. What did I say?
I know it's gonna sound morbid, but like, I don't have a dad, so like, don't text me like my dad.
I'm sorry. What did I
No,
say?
just kidding. But because you were like, it can't happen again.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about. And I literally sent him a text, and I was like, well, it actually can if I wanted to.
You know what it is too? Like, I think,
But it's also like,
you've become like a sister to us
yeah, it's
too.
very like.
And also, you're very similar to Janessa. I've told you this before. Like,
No,
you guys.
Janessa and I are literally the same person.
So a lot of the times I'm talking to you, I'm like, man, I'm straight up talking to Janessa. So.
No, when I sent you that, I was like, I hope you think this is Janessa. I literally sent them that text message, and I was like, read this as Janessa.
Yeah, but to defend myself, you have become like a sister to us. So it's that type of relationship.
Yeah.
It's also like it's crazy. Like now that we're building this media company, and like, you really do develop a personal relationship with every single talent, every single person. And it's that juggling of like, you know, as you're texting me, then there's somebody else texting me. So, but I will defend myself in that, like, we do really see you like as that sister type. So.
No, I know. And it's funny because someone was here the other day, and they were hearing how like Robbie and I talk to each other. And like, if you don't know Robbie and I's like dynamic in our relationship, and you see us like talking to each other,
you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you would be like, oh my God, like, what is wrong with these people? But it's just like our dynamic, and it's always been like that since like day one. Yeah.
And I love that we're all bringing that vibe here.
Yeah.
And we all kind of like, we're like screwing around with Chris, but we really do love him.
Oh my God, he's so, and
even though you didn't get him to take your wedding photos.
He's just not, it wasn't my style that I was going for, but he knows that I blow, like, I don't blow smoke to him. I tell him all the time, like, you're such a talented photographer.
He really is.
And like starting so young, and like, he has a good head on his shoulder, you know, keep doing it. You can come take our after pictures.
There you go.
And you shoot all my stuff for the pod, even though he left us for a while.
Yeah, where did you go?
He went to North Carolina.
North Carolina, Raleigh.
That's right.
I thought you moved. No, I didn't move. You did a super emo reel about it. Emo. Next time, just put, tonight will be the night that I will fall for you.
Damn, that was good.
That was pretty
Thank
good.
you.
That was solid.
Close your eyes. Close your eyes.
No,
No, do it again. Man.
Tonight will be the night that I will fall for you.
Over and no.
That was good, Chris.
Paulie, please cut that up right there. Just that. You're gonna get one reel for this podcast, and it's just gonna be that.
Send that to your crush, whoever your crush is. Send them
Valentine's Day. Just the little
Valentine's
hearts.
Day.
Yes.
Just like, wait, but I have to do the whole thing.
100%.
Ready? Here you go. Don't make me laugh, Chris. 'Cause tonight will be.
Oh, I can hear the laugh so detailed. It's like a honk, a little bit of a little honk.
I'm not gonna do it. I can't do it again. I hope you got that the first time.
Communication.
Communication.
We've taken many twists and turns.
Okay. Last twist and turn
All right.
is I want to talk about mental health.
Okay.
But I want to talk about mental health as a father. And mental health as someone who is running a company with so many talent and all that stuff. So I guess it's mental health in general then. But mostly focusing on mental health and raising a boy. Because I think that's so important. Omar and I talked about it just a little bit. But I want to know, first of all, your journey with mental health, where you stand right now with your mental health, and how becoming a parent has helped your journey with that. A lot of different questions in one.
3 questions in one. That's fine. I have an interesting past with mental health for sure. I think in my 20s, I never really I didn't know it was happening, but I guess maybe I was naive or just living life, and you don't really think about what's happening with my mental health. How am I dealing with things? How am I getting over things? Am I storing shit? You don't think of that.
Nope.
Until it comes out and you're like, oh, okay. That's deep down inside. Where the fuck did that come from? So I don't think for most of my early 20s I dealt with it, or I even knew it was there. I was even cognizant of it until, I think, ironically enough, until I met Mari, and I started to deal a lot of my grandfather passing away, which was my first loss of my life, big loss, tragic.
That was mine too.
Yeah, it was my grandfather. He was our rock, and it was just it was a big thing. 6 months cancer, and he was never sick. It was one of those. So I think that was my big first loss. Obviously, my parents' divorce that at the time I didn't really deal with, because again, you're 20 years old. I was playing baseball.
Yeah.
I was in college. You're doing a lot of other things to really deal with. Oh, my parents are getting divorced. At that time, you're like, oh, parents are getting divorced. Whatever.
Right.
Everybody's parents get divorced.
Exactly.
And then to really years later, focus back on that, and you're like, oh shit, that was my life. And we grew up a very close knit family. It was always same household, very traditional. Barbecues on Sundays. We were very, very close, and the kids too. Us 3, me, Danny, and Janessa. So I didn't really deal with it in my early 20s, and then when I met Mari, and you start going through life, I had just that's a couple years after my playing career, my baseball career ended, and I was kind of trying to rediscover myself, because as an athlete, a lot of athletes deal with this post their sport, which is that is your identity for 15 years of your life, 10 years of your life, and then it's well, now go be a normal a regular person, and you're not an athlete anymore, and
that changes your brain chemistry.
I'm sure it does 100%. And nobody really talks about that, and it's that's your identity for 10 years.
Wow.
Is an athlete. I was a baseball player. I was a good baseball player, and I went to college for that. I got a scholarship, and then it just ends. You're like, what the fuck? Who am I going to be now?
How I know that we're gonna go more into your mental health thing, but how did that affect you?
Again, at the time,
you didn't even notice.
Didn't even notice. I did what I usually do. I'm an entrepreneur by just my blood, and I was like, oh well, now it's the next thing. Let's go. Let's ride. And I started a company at that time. I always knew kind of that I wanted to do my own thing.
Right.
So I started the company. I was actually a trainer for a while. I was training athletes.
Nice.
And I kind of just jumped to the next thing. I didn't really focus on oh, my baseball career is ending. I'm probably going to go through shit. I didn't think that, So I just jumped to the next thing. Excuse me. And I did that for the next 5-10 years or whatever. And now years later, you look back and things that I'm dealing or that I've dealt with that I'm like, shit, that's from that time, or that's from that time, and that's from that time.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it takes, I told you we have a therapist, and sometimes it takes like the talking that maybe you can't sit down with your wife, or you haven't been able to open up that way, or you don't know how to express it, and it takes somebody that knows what how to pull it out, to be like, whoa, hold up, we're gonna go, you said something over here, let's
bring that back.
let's bring that back. And then you're like, oh shit,
Wow.
yeah. So when I met Mari, that's when I really started to deal with like my grandfather's loss, the loss of my career, or me trying to find myself.
Right.
I was in that entrepreneurial, like having my own business, and I think it really didn't take effect, or it really didn't hit me hard until my the company that I had previously, that we were selling. I had an e-commerce company. We were selling like protein cookies, brownies. This was like in the whole keto phase.
Yeah.
And we had a great start to the company. We did like $1 million within a couple, like 6 months, 8 months, like straight e-commerce. We hadn't even gone brick and mortar. And COVID hit. We were trying to keep up with the Joneses as far as marketing is concerned. We were funded ourselves. We had no money, and we hit the wall. We hit a complete wall. We were hemorrhaging money, and we just couldn't continue to move forward. And I had lost myself. I had lost myself in the company. I had lost myself in a bunch of things. And I would say like all of COVID was really like the resurgence of me trying to center myself, find myself, understand why I was having the anxiety that I was having, understand how to cope with that anxiety and the things that I was feeling. And I really started to find like those coping mechanisms in the right way, in the healthy way.
Okay.
For years, I was coping with it, especially post like being an athlete, with food for sure. That's one of my coping mechanisms, always has been. I've yo-yo diet my entire life. Drinking, but not like drinking in a crazy way.
Right.
I've never gone like full alcoholic, if you will, but definitely coping on like, hey, I'm gonna have a couple drinks tonight just because I feel anxiety and I don't know how to do anything else and cope with it any other way.
Right.
And I think that's been one of the biggest kind of changes in my life. Definitely becoming a father was one of those aha moments of like, you need to learn how to deal with your shit. Because if you don't learn how to deal with your shit, how are you going to tell your child to learn how to deal with their shit?
Yeah.
Or help your child deal with their shit? And that was one of them. I hyper focused back into working out and eating right and making sure that during the week we're not drinking in the house, or obviously you have a party, you do something, whatever, but making sure we're just in general living a healthier lifestyle.
Right.
To me, that's one of my main things. When I am physically in the gym and I am working out and I am feeling good and I am feeling healthy, and for some people it's the other way around, but that in turn helps me deal with my mental health in a better facet.
Right.
And sometimes it's it's different for other people. Some people need to be spiritually 100% centered, and then the physical and the mental will follow.
Yeah.
I am 100% like, I need to get my physical shit taken care of and get into the gym and feel good and feel like I'm in a rhythm. And then my mental health follows. And that's kind of been one of the biggest aha moments that I've had during COVID. I was severely overweight. I was like 350 pounds. I was bad. And it wasn't a healthy lifestyle for really anybody, but it wasn't helping me cope with my mental health because I was just such in a bad place.
Yeah.
I didn't feel good. I didn't look good. It was just, I was in a bad place. So I really like hyper focused on that. Like going back to like, I read a really good book during COVID, Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights. Highly recommend, by the way. And he talks about it. One of the things, Green Lights, is he started writing whenever life was up for him. Whenever he was going through good times, he would write down what he was doing. Like, what are the habits he's doing? What are the things he was doing because he started to realize like when I don't do those things,
It's true.
there's no green lights. Like my life kind of like starts to trickle and habits for sure, like good habits. Like what are the good habits that I'm doing when things are going well and
Yeah.
when I am feeling good and when I'm in a good mental health capacity? Like what are those things that I'm doing?
And I've learned that.
Yeah.
I've learned that when I'm active,
Mm,
like,
crazy.
and it doesn't have to be like right now, Pilates is my thing, and that's what has been centering me. And
Yeah.
that, but when I am active and I feel good in my body, like,
Mm.
and it's not like an aesthetic thing, it's like feel,
It's a feel good.
it's like an
Yeah.
actual, like, I'm not uncomfortable in my body. Like, I
Mhm.
feel good in my body, which creates this confidence,
Mhm.
which then creates
Mhm.
all the good stuff that
Mhm.
like comes.
Mhm.
I do find when I am not at my most confident, or I'm not working out, or I'm not doing things to make me feel good, that's when
Mhm.
it's like
I'm
a
the same way.
downhill.
I'm
Or
the
when
same.
I'm not like, and I know, and I'm trying to work on not putting my like worth
Mm.
on like my work and what I'm doing in the season or in the moment, because I know, especially in my industry, there are some seasons that are really great and there's some seasons that are very dry.
Sure.
But I do find that when I am working in what I love, don't put me in a fucking office
Mm.
with a computer,
Mm.
because you're gonna hate me, because I'm gonna hate
Mhm.
myself.
Mhm.
But when I'm doing my creative things, when I'm doing my physical things that make me feel good, my mind is, now, do I still deal with my shit
Mhm.
every single day?
Mhm.
But I find it easier to get through the anxiety or get through the day feeling whatever I'm feeling, because at least I have this little bit of dopamine from whatever I did on the side.
Well, and you're also like you feel like you're in your purpose. You feel like you're finding your
Yeah.
purpose,
Yeah.
and that's powerful too. You know, that happens to me when I'm in my habits. I'm in my routine. I'm going to the gym. Like it's almost like it's weird to say, but I almost feel like I'm doing that to be a better father, and I am. It's not crazy to say. Like I'm doing that to be a better father. I'm doing that. A lot of times it's funny because I have they all make fun of me because I'll wake up at like 5 in the morning. I'll do my work. Yeah, don't look at me like that. I wake up early.
5 in the morning. I'm in my third dream of the night.
I wake up very early. I used to I used to make fun of my dad all the time, and now I'm like, bro. I text him sometimes, and he's not even up. Yeah,
Wow.
wild. But I wake up early, and then every day I go to the gym at 9, like pretty much every single day. And there's sometimes that either shit's hitting the fan, like there's a post that's not going up, or there's something that hasn't been edited and
Yeah.
wasn't sent by the whatever's going on. And I have made it a point to just say I need to be in the gym because it doesn't matter what's going on outside of obviously something happening to Braden or Madi.
Right.
It doesn't matter what's going on. It's not as important as me getting my ass in the gym and getting a good workout.
Yeah.
Because I know that the rest of the day I'm going to be able to tackle whatever's happening.
I'm gonna be in a great mood.
I'm going to be in a great mood, or definitely a better mood than
Then-
if I didn't.
Right.
Right. And I owe it to myself, and I owe it to the team. I owe it to my son. I owe it to my wife to just be a better person. And I know for me, that means getting my ass in the gym at 9 a.m. You know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah.
it's just those little things of understanding yourself and understanding, like again, you roll your eyes, but that 5 a.m. Like,
No, it's
to me, like for my life, for what we got going on, and for me as a husband and as a father, if I don't get up at 5, I'm not getting my shit done.
right.
Therefore, I can't be there when I need to pick up Braden at 5:30.
Yeah.
I can't be attentive to him because I got to come home and I got to finish shit.
Yeah.
Instead of getting my shit done early and being able to pick him up at 5 in the afternoon and spend the rest of the afternoon with him and really like be in the moment
and it
and be
just
purposeful.
really, I feel like it does set up your day, and it doesn't have to be like a workout. It can be like
Right.
you said,
Yeah.
a meditation, whatever.
It could
it
be
is that
whatever's your
you-
thing. Yeah.
Like I had a Pilates class this morning, woke up feeling like
Yeah.
death. So
But that's strength training. Like Pilates
Oh,
is fucking tough.
Pilates is
Yeah.
crazy.
It's not
No,
easy.
It just like someone told me that it was really good for ADHD, like if you have ADD.
Mm.
And then I took a class and I'm like, oh my God, there's
Is it really?
It's just all you're focusing on is your breathing and like making
Mm.
sure that you're tackling the muscles that she's telling you to. So you have you can't think about anything else, which is like amazing for me because my mind is always like at
Get to
1,000.
escape.
But I woke up today not feeling well. And I was like, okay, I have to reserve energy. But because I didn't go, I had anxiety. Eddie and I got into a thing. Like, was not feeling my best. I literally got on my phone and I booked a class for tomorrow morning
Yeah.
because I'm like, I can't, like, I have shows all this weekend. Like, I need to, like, get in a good, like, state.
Yeah.
And I've learned that that's one of the things that I have to do to get my mental health, like, good.
Yeah.
It's not about physical appearance anymore for me.
No,
Even though it's a
is
bonus. Thank
right,
you.
yeah, exactly.
I love it. I
it's,
love like it's great, and I love when I see my body change
Sure.
in a healthy way
Right.
because I did it for many
Yeah.
years very unhealthy.
Yeah. I loved your post the other day, the story that you put up that you were eating before the
Oh my
the
God!
thing,
Like,
and
and I had to post that because it was such a moment
it's
for
a big
me
moment, yeah, for sure.
of like I was wearing these super low rise jeans. I had a crop top. Plus, I was about to do a show that like I wore a certain outfit. Old Marcela would have just been like, girl, you can't eat today. Like, this is the outfit you decided to wear. Like, suck it up. And I did have that conversation with me of like, you have to wear this and you're going to eat. And I'm like, no, but I also have to do 5 shows tonight. Like, I have to do it. So I posted that because I was like, oh my God, I'm so proud of you. Like, I'm so proud that you realize, like, okay, food is fuel and it's okay
It's
to
powerful. It really is.
eat. And I really, I mean, I've done a lot of the work, but I feel like I do owe a lot of that to Eddie, who has just like shown me a love for food, but also has like, I was with someone for, and I don't know, I'm getting emotional. I was with someone for 7 years.
You told me I was going to cry.
Right? I was with someone for 7 years who like, I had to like lie to him about what I was eating. We would go out and I had to order a salad. Like, God forbid I wanted like dessert. Like, it was like I was on constant diets. I was on constant things. And then I meet this man who like throws food in my face. I'm like, try this and try that. And one of our big bonds is like this love of food that we have together. And he's shown me that. And so it's taking me a second to like understand like food is great and it's okay to eat and it's okay to like nourish yourself. But I'm glad you said that moment because that was such a like big moment for me of like, you're eating before a show. Good for you. Like,
I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a powerful moment. It hit me because I do something similar, or I've made a change similar with drinking.
Yeah.
And again, like, yes, problem, but more than a problem, like it's what you dig your anxiety into or what you hide your anxiety with. And to me, that like I felt it because a lot of times during the week, like I still get anxiety. I'm way better than I have been in the past, but it's more how I deal with the anxiety that's really the big change. Do I have like the same type of anxiety? Probably, but the way that I deal with it helps me lower my anxiety for tomorrow. And that's and when you put that, I was like, fuck, man, like, yes. Because now instead of being home and being anxious and being in front of the computer and pouring myself a bourbon, right? Because I'm anxious and because I'm working, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to fucking take a walk, man.
Yeah.
For real, as simple as that. And the mental part of it of like, if I have a drink right now, it's just one drink, yes, 100%. But tomorrow when I wake up, I'm going to feel like shit. Or maybe if I have 2 drinks, I'm going to feel like shit. I'm not going to be energized. I'm not going to get to the gym at 9. And how is that good for me? How is that good for anybody? And it's that little talk that you start to understand and have with yourself.
Yeah.
And when you posted that, I went through, like, I've been through that. So I really like reflected on that moment. And it seems so small and insignificant, but it's not.
No.
It really is not. And kudos to you. Like,
Thanks.
for real.
No, and I had that conversation of myself of like, you're about to do 5 shows then you're probably gonna stay after and you're gonna want to hang out with people and gonna have a drink, and then tomorrow you have to do it all over again.
Yeah.
And this meal is not gonna change any of
Anything.
that. Like, you're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And a couple years ago, I could not have that conversation with
Yeah.
myself. I mean, I tried, and then I would tell myself, go and fly a kite.
Sure.
Or just like that whole week alone. I remember with Amparo, Amparo was a difficult show because costume wise, it was like, especially in New York Amparo. Like New York Amparo, she was in a showgirl like outfit. So, and it happens which sucks, but one of the biggest triggers is my career when it comes to like, I'm in front of people. Like, it is what it is. But I've gotten to the point, and this is just growth, of like, people are coming to see me for my acting. It's okay. Like, you're okay. Your body's okay. What you're wearing is okay. Like, eat your fucking food. Eat the cookie if at night. Like, just, you're okay. And like you said, it doesn't take away my anxiety.
Right.
It doesn't take away that I deal with an eating disorder, even though I am in what they call like remission from the eating disorder. You still deal with it. I still deal with episodes. I still deal with things. But the difference is, Marcela, when she was in the eating disorder, would have been like, you can't eat this meal. I cannot eat this meal. Actually, your show opens this week. You can't eat this whole week, which I've done.
Which gives you, in turn, more anxiety.
More anxiety. I don't feel good. I'm on the floor. My performance is not going to be what it's supposed to be because of that. So
your hormones are probably all over the place.
All over the place. Like, it just was not good.
Yeah.
And now I'm at the point that I'm like, hey, I actually have a show in 30 minutes. Let me actually scarf down a whole meal to make sure that I'm like at my best. And I think that's just mental health in general. It's not, it's knowing that like we have to deal with this for the rest of our lives. It's just the cards that we're thought. And honestly, I feel like it gives us a superpower. It lets us tap into something that others can't tap into. And good for you. Glad that you never have to tap into that. But it has given me this new perspective of life. And has also made me so grounded in a way of like, if I don't ground myself and control what I have going on every single day, I'm not going to be able to live this life. I'm not going to be able to do it. So our coping mechanism, it's not that it takes it away, like you said. It just helps us like get through it a little easier.
Yeah. It's funny you call it grounded, I call it centered, but it's the same shit.
Yeah.
I agreed. And having that internal conversation with yourself and being able to like communicate with yourself in turn, and I'm bringing this all the way back around.
Yeah.
In turn has made me a better husband and a better father. Because I'm able to understand like, hey, this is how I communicated with myself. Let me figure out how to communicate with Braden and in turn with Mari. I love that you call it grounded and I call it centered, but it's really the same thing.
Yeah.
Because it's so important. And the little wins, they're important to celebrate them for sure.
Yeah.
Because they stack up and they become big wins.
Yeah.
You know, there's a really good book, Atomic Habits.
Someone recommended that to me the other day. And
really good book because so the whole kind of premise of the book is like stack up these habits because they just become life. Like they become really good habits for life in general. And I think for personalities like yourself and myself, I get overwhelmed at like not like the little failures or whatever the case may be. And it's really important to focus on those little wins, focus on those little habits, because the more you stack them up, the more they just become a big win and a big habit that are changing your life.
Right.
And that's been kind of one of the biggest changes for me is like I've always historically tried to tackle everything, like try to tackle the big picture and like I'm gonna change this or I'm gonna lose 100 pounds. And it's like, no, dude, just lose the fucking 2 pounds.
Right.
And then next week, lose the 2 pounds.
Yeah.
And then next week, lose the 2 pounds and stack up those little wins, those good habits. And in turn, they become bigger habits. And it's made me a better father, better husband. It's made me a better owner of a company, like entrepreneur. And I think those, again, kind of circling back, I applaud you for celebrating that little win, because it's not a little win, although like maybe it felt that way or whatever, but it's a big win.
No,
like,
it for me, it felt like a huge win because I knew the domino effect it was going to have.
Yep.
Of like, oh, I ate today. That means that in the morning I'm going to be able to eat, and at night I'll be able. And again, a normal person hears that and you're like, yeah, girl. But when you've dealt with an eating disorder and all of that, and that little voice comes into your head of like, hey, you're wearing something that's super revealing, or opening night. I had tremendo meal before opening night, which I would never have done before because I'm in a certain dress. People are taking pictures of me. I'm just going to even give you an example, which some people will get it and others won't. I had my hair in a fucking ponytail opening night, which again, for me is like, oh my God, a ponytail? Like, you didn't have your hair. Like, I didn't care because I was like, oh, I had such a great performance, which is the reason that people were there.
Correct.
Not for my hair, not for my outfit, not how my body looked in my outfit.
Correct.
They were there for my acting, and everyone could not stop talking about it. And I was like, good. That's your win. That's you ate and people didn't notice anything. Like that was it was such a like one of the biggest wins for me last week, really, because I would starve myself if I had opening night.
And it's so cool to catch yourself too, and like be so centered or grounded, and be like, yo,
no, I almost
I'm doing
didn't.
this.
Yeah, I almost didn't
Don't
eat
do
it.
this.
I went, I bought it, I opened it. The voice came into my head.
The novel. I call it the novel that I build in my head.
And I closed it, and I literally said, are you kidding, dude?
Yeah.
Eat the fucking broccoli and chicken.
Yeah.
Like, you're okay.
Which is healthy food.
Right, which is like healthy food.
Right. And it's going to fuel you. Like,
and for me, it was just like, you can't do this. You cannot do this show on an empty stomach.
And I like how you framed it. You said something about this is going to fuel me, or this is going to
I was like,
that.
this is...
because that's a good...
27-year... I said 27-year-old Marcela would be so proud that I ate something because I knew it was going to fuel me, not hurt me.
Yeah. And that's such a cool mindset.
Yeah. No, when it happened, I didn't have anyone to like call and like, because I was went right into the show, but I think I cried and everything because I was like, I'm so proud of you that your anxiety and the voices were there, but you told them, you're going to have to shut up for a little bit because I need to do this. You'll get over it. You'll thank me at the end. And at the end of the night, I was just like, fuck, I'm so happy I had that broccoli and chicken.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. But
it's also a good lesson too of like, and I feel like we've gone here to a society, not to get to like over societal, but there's a lot of blame on other people in right now. And it's like, we need to lean into ourselves more and hold ourselves accountable more. It's really important that we do that. And that's not being mean to yourself or critical to yourself. It's just being real with yourself and telling yourself like, yo, is this really my best version? Is this really, I call it John, which is he's my co-host on the Dad Tribe podcast. We talk about like who is the avatar of yourself, right? Who is the best version of yourself that you want to be? And I always ask myself, like, would that person do that? Like the best person you want, the best version of you that you want to be, whatever that is, right? Would that person do that? And that's like a question, but we need to start leaning into ourselves more and holding ourselves a little bit more accountable. You know, I feel like that's really important, and that shows you holding yourself accountable and saying, hey, just be better to yourself. You know, it's powerful. It really is. And I think we need to, going back to the father thing, we need, you know, that's one of the things that Manny and I talk about all the time is like, you know, teaching him self-responsibility and talk to yourself. Like that it's a you thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not to be mean to yourself or overly critical of yourself, but it's just that inner voice, like understanding the responsibilities and that you are responsible
Right.
for your outcome.
Yep.
Right. And obviously there's definitely drastic areas of that,
Right.
but you're responsible for your outcome. You're responsible for how you feel, and you could talk to yourself, and you could, be positive to yourself and have that little inner voice and do what you did. And again, super powerful.
Thanks.
Loved it.
Thanks.
Yeah. And I love this podcast. I've told you a couple times. But
No,
I really
I'm so happy that you came on. I'm really happy that you opened up the way that you did about relationships, about mental health, about everything. And just again, you guys have always from the beginning been very like, what do you want to do? Come on. So I'm just grateful for you guys. I'm grateful for the space that you're creating, the space for allowing me to create a safe space, because if I didn't have this, I wouldn't be able to create a safe space for everybody that listens. So thank you so much, and you guys are stuck with me for life. So
super down with that.
Sorry. You're the
But no,
best.
thank you. Appreciate it. It was
And
fun.
just look in this camera really quick and say, Wicked is the best movie that has come out this year.
Gladiator is the best movie that has come out
Oh,
this year.
no.
Yes, sir.
Chris, go on the mic and say, Wicked is the best movie that
To be
has
fair, I
come
haven't
out.
watched Gladiator.
Say it, Chris.
What do you want me to say?
Wicked
Wicked
Oh, come
is
on.
the best movie
is not the best movie that has came out this year.
that has
come
came
out
out
this
that
year.
has came out this year.
Jesus.
Jesus. If you're at least
Big
gonna
grammar.
be funny, use the correct grammar.
How do you end this? Do you do like a...
No, it just ends.
It just ends?